Legislation. Let's make a bill. Solving a state or local problem. Throughout this video, we're going to go over your bill template ordering of writing your legislation. You're going to go over your bill number, your delegation, your author, which is you, a bill to be entitled to. What topic is your bill? Is it talking about animal rights? Is it talking about smoking? Is it talking about law enforcement? To be enacted by, which is actually making your bill a law. Who's enacting your bill? Section number 1 is going to be legislative intent, which is your whereases and your therefore, your problems and your solutions. Section number 2 is going to be providing definitions. So going through and defining each section. If you're talking about a minor, who is the minor? Is the minor 18? Is the minor someone that's 16 and lower? Are you looking at something that's 21 and lower? So what defines the items in your bill? Section number 3 is your guidelines. So going through and finding your statute for your state or the ordinance that you are finding and fixing, whether you're altering, amending, or you are just completely like null and voiding a bill. Then your penalties. Your penalty section is who is going to get a penalty and why. Your bill has to be matched up with some kind of consequences. So what are those consequences? Are they some that are already out there? Are you changing the consequences? Are you adding to the consequences? Are you lowering or hiring the consequences? Enforcement, and who is going to enforce this bill? It's a bill about education. Most likely it's going to be the Department of Education for your state. Is it law enforcement that's going to be enforcing this? Is it some kind of environmental protection bill? So looking at those different sections and who is actually going to make sure your bill actually follows through once it becomes legislation. And then section number 6 is going to be appropriations and funding. So this one gets a little bit tricky. There's some loopholes in certain states of where to get your money from, whether it's from lottery money, seized drug money being used to go against fighting drug crimes. There's all kinds of different ways to do that, but where is your money coming from? Are you taking my personal tax dollars to be able to do this? Or are you actually having the money come from grant money or other sections that the money is already there? Nullification clause is going to be the same for everyone. If there's a bill out there, it's null and void. Any other bill that questions it makes your bill null and void. So making sure that you have that nullification clause in there. And then effective date. When is your bill going to go into effect? If it is something that is an education bill, is it going to go into effect the next school year? Are you going to give them time? Like, yeah, it starts next school year, but you get 5 school years. Is it something that starts in January 1st once the new year comes? What is it that your bill is going to be affected by? And then you are done and your bill is ready to get proposed. And you can write your opening and closing speeches, prep for non-debatable technical questions, pro, con, and send your bill off to hopefully be a law. So this is where your teacher is going to give you a bill number. So bill numbers are assigned based on if your bill is going to be in the House and the Senate. And there's a whole bunch of ways that you could either be in the House or the Senate, or maybe your teacher is just kind of randomize it up. But your bill number is going to be with a H or an HB at the front, being a House bill, or an S or an SB at the front, which is saying that it's a Senate bill. Your bill numbers also tell you if it's a House or a Senate bill, because odd numbers are from the House and Senate bills are even. So that kind of gives it away as well. They will get tossed back and forth if you're going through the full legislative process, because whatever passes in the House needs to be passed in the Senate, and whatever passes in the Senate needs to be passed in the House. So your bill number is just originally where it originates from. I'm a firm believer in the 7 habits, beginning with the end in mind, knowing how you're going to be ranked by your bill before you even begin writing your bill, because you want to write it with a purpose. You want to make sure your bill meets all of these requirements before you even begin writing. When you're researching, you're looking at non-debatable technical questions, you're looking up statistics. Does it meet these 4 requirements? These 4 requirements are super crucial. and it's how you're going to be ranked in the end. One being the best score you can get in each category, and five being the worst score that you can get in each category. So you're looking at importance to Florida, or whatever state that you're in. So importance to the people, because you're a legislator, you are there for the people. The first three words of the Constitution are "we the people." So how are you going to help the people within your state? Is it a problem in your state? Is it more of a problem somewhere else? Is it a problem in your state and other states? But you have to make it specific to your state in general. Feasibility, is it actually feasible? Can this actual legislation happen? Or are you trying to make people wear pink pajamas on Tuesdays and they have to wear them all day, or they get thrown in jail for not wearing pink pajamas on Tuesdays? So, preparation of the author, that's you. How prepared are you? How much you know about this bill? How quickly can you answer those questions? I mean, it's great to say during your non debatable technical questions, "That's a great question. I don't know that, but I will look that up and get back to you," which is a really wonderful technique to have. But you need to be prepared. You should be able to confidently answer those questions. So, how prepared are you? How well do you know your bill and the statistics and problems that surround your bill and the clarification of your bill? Which thing is it doing? Which thing is it not doing? And how is it actually going to do that? So, the debatability is very interesting. So this one kind of becomes a little bit tough. It's not debatable. If there's not pro and con good on each side, then your bill can't pass, which I mean sounds kind of weird. Like if your bill has all pros and no cons, why shouldn't it pass? But you should be able to look at both sides. Everyone should be able to look at both sides. Are there some people that it's going to affect? Is there some people that it's not going to affect? How does it affect and not affect those people? Some people it will affect positively, some people it will affect negatively. And you have to be able to see all those sides in order for your bill to pass. So, how many times do you want to be sit on by an elephant in your bill? Hopefully, it's one time for each and every category. So, the best score you can get is 4. The worst score you can get is 20. So keep that in mind as you're writing your bill. If it's not important to the people of your state, then it's not your bill. If you're not passionate about it, okay, that is your preparation. You need to passionately speak and be willing to know every single fact about your bill and just preach it out. So if that's not you, maybe this isn't your bill. Teachers, below is a link to be able to get this entire process for your classroom. If you are a student that's watching this, then hopefully your teacher has already gotten this or they have a template of their own. And you are going to find that template, whether it's digital or on paper, and you're going to walk through this bill making template step by step with the resources and tools that I've given you. An act relating to. Your intro statement at the top is going to have some areas where you're going to fill in. It's going to be your statute number, which is your state law. So your state statute number is going to go up there, and the topic that you are going to find in your state statute, whether it's minimum wage, smoking, animal cruelty, child abuse, homelessness, school choice, whatever that topic is, it's going to be the major overarching topic that your bill is going to go over and the statute that you are altering or amending, or maybe you're even getting rid of it. So at the top, that is going to clearly define what you are going to be altering, amending, or getting rid of. Section number 1 is where you define out the problem that you are trying to solve. Whereas is your problem, therefore is your solution. If kids are getting hit walking to school, then your solution could be providing a sidewalk within a 2-mile radius of every school. But you need to prove that that's a problem so that you can statistically show your data of what you are going to solve. Is it a problem in your state versus other states? Is your state going to be a state where there's a high amount of dog fighting in your state? Is there a high amount of terminal illnesses in your state? What problem are you trying to solve versus other states? It could be a problem in other states. That's completely fine. A lot of the problems that you are going to try to solve are problems in other states, but how is it more of a problem or an issue that you could easily solve through legislation in your state? So, whereas is a statistical problem, and then your therefore is your solution, your legislative solution to be able to provide some answers and some justice for what is going on within your communities. This This section is going to be your section for number 2 of defining at least 4 important words. You're going to have more than that. If you're doing something of like no smoking in the car with minors present, what do you define as a minor? Is it someone that's 10 and under? Is it someone that's 18 and under? You're changing a legal drinking age or a smoking age. Is it 21 and under is a minor, or is 18 and under a minor? So when you're looking at these different things, you have to define what is a pedestrian. What is someone that's in a motor vehicle? What are you calling each item in your legislation, and provide that definition and clarification. So this is providing clarification through defining each word that could be brought into question within your legislation. Whether it's in your whereas, your therefore, or your statute, you want to define it so everyone knows what's going on. So this part can be kind of difficult. The great thing out there is that you can go through and find something that is similar to your bill idea on the Florida House or Senate website, or your state's House or Senate website. If you go find a dead bill, which is a bill that died in committee, a bill that was going to be presented to the floor and they ran out of time, someone else probably has another idea that's similar to yours. So you can go and find that and figure out what you need to strike through, what you need to underline, or maybe you're striking through the whole entire thing. So as you're going through, you're going to find on your state statutes that you are going to find which one you are going to alter or amend, or maybe you're just null and voiding and you're getting rid of an entire statute. So if you're changing a requirement for something, you're going to strike out the old requirement and underline the new requirement. If you're upping the age for something, maybe you're changing it from 18 to 21. You're going to strike out 18, underline 21 next to it. If you're raising the penalties for something or lowering the penalties, you're going to strike out the old, underline the new. So this is where you're going to change the state statute, which is the current law as it stands the year that you are writing this, not what's coming up, not based on future legislation, as is in the statute as it reads in your state currently. So you are going to look at that statute and you're going to copy and paste it here with the section that you are changing, and then you're going to alter it with strikes and underlines. Appropriations is section number 4. Appropriations is who will collect the money for this legislation and how. What will you need to collect or pay for? Is there a fine? Is there taxes that you need to pay? Is there a processing fee for your bill? What is it that they are paying for? Or do you need money to distribute out your bill or make your bill go into effect? Are law enforcement officers needing a new training? Where does that money come from? And why and how much do you need? Section number 5 is your penalties. If your bill is going out there, you need penalties. So there is no consequences, then what's the point of your bill? If you want it to go into effect, just like a good behavior that a parent wants from a child or something that a teacher wants you to do, if you don't turn in that paper, you're going to get consequences because you're going to get a bad grade, or maybe you get a late grade because it comes in late. So these things come into effect by your penalties. What is the consequence if this does not go through? If you're giving them a certain amount of time to comply, are there strikes? The first time they do this is a warning. The second time they do this, there's a fine. The third time they do this, there's a fine and there's jail time. However you're going to go about this, it may be something that's already out there in your statute or another statute, or something that you're coming up with because you're creating a new statute. Enforcement. So enforcement's kind of tricky. So finding this gets a little hard when you're a middle schooler or a high schooler. If you're trying to find out who is enforcing your law, there's a really great State Department's website for every single state. I've attached the one for Florida here. You can go and find your state resources. If it's something to do with children, it's either going to be the Department of Education or maybe Child Services. So go through that and figure out who is going to enforce your law. If you have penalties, someone has to make sure it's going through. So As your law goes into effect, you need someone to enforce and make sure that your law is actually doing its job because you did this for a purpose. You have whereases and a therefore for a reason because there's a problem within your state and you need someone to enforce to make sure that that problem is being solved. Nullification clause, you don't need to do anything to this section. It should say all laws and any portion thereof in conflict with these provisions hereby are null and void. And then the last one is your effective date. Effective date kind of gets tricky because it depends on what kind of bill you have. If it's a hunting bill, it should go with something to do with the hunting season. If you're changing the hunting season, go with the next one. If you're doing something that maybe could be gradually released, it's going to be on January 1st, but you have 4 years to comply. If it's something that's costly for a business, you do want to have a gradual release. And if they break it within those years, maybe there's a warning, but they have a certain amount of time to comply. Notifying people with a public service announcement would be part of enforcement. You can notify people of the change, but they need some time to be able to adjust. If it's something with the Department of Education, a school year, those should follow along with the educational dates so that teachers can prepare for that upcoming school year. So they need time to be able to do that. If you are looking at it, most schools in the state of Florida start in August. They prep ahead of time for that, but you can't make it go into effect on January 1st because they're already in the midst of that school year. So they could be found out of compliance for a couple of months. So keep that in mind, adjust to what it is that your bill is doing and modify based on your bill needs, based on what your bill is actually doing. We began with the end in mind, and now it's time for that end. So the best score you can get is 4. The worst score you can get is 20. So once you're done presenting, you should prep. We typically do for the first round 60 seconds for each, but you should prep for an opening speech, non-debatable technical questions, which are just based on the facts, not opinion. Pro debate, con debate, you don't get to talk, but other people get to talk. You can hand out lobbying sheets ahead of time if you want, but people are going to be talking in favor or against your bill. The more, the better. And then in the end, you have a closing speech, which is also a pro for you because you are talking about your bill, addressing what people said, addressing their concerns, and then bringing it back home of the effect that you are going to make. You should be closing out and saying how much you are going to save the children, save the animals, make our communities safer. You're going to make things easier. You're going to make it easier for people to be able to go about their daily lives in a safe and affordable environment. So, however you're doing it, whatever applies to your bill, you're going to close it out. And then people are going to rank your bill on importance to your state, feasibility, like, is it actually possible based on what you said? Your preparation, debatability, whether people stood up in pro and con. If they only stood up in con, obviously this isn't going to pass. If they stood up in both, great, awesome. But you do need pros and cons of your bill. Then at the end, they will give you a ranking score. Your teacher will then add each one of those up and then divide it out by the number of people that voted. So if you have a class of 15 people, you add up the total score and you divide it out by 15, and that is going to give you your ranking score. Those rankings are going to be posted somewhere in your classroom, whether it's digitally on a board. I have little magnets for each and every single bill in the back of my classroom, which is super awesome that you can see on my Instagram. But each one of those is going to be posted. The top should be your lowest ranking bill. So if you have the lowest ranking bill out of your class, you are going to have the best score. The one with the biggest score is actually going to be your lowest ranking bill. They're going to be further along down. The ones at the top are going to move on to the next session. So keep that in mind. You're going to rank out, or they're going to rank yours, and you also get a chance to vote on your bill because it's your bill. So rank those out and then tally them up, divide it out, and you get your rankings. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this bill writing. Please reach out to your local representatives, community members, Legislators, legislative aides, your mayor, your city council, people are here and they want to help you, especially if you're doing a dead bill. Go reach out to the author of that bill. They will help you in any way possible. I promise people are here to serve. You're serving by writing this bill and you're reaching out and being a voice for the voiceless. Those people that already have a voice out there do want to hear from you. If you write out this bill and you would like to send it out to your local representative, send it out to your local city councilman, send it out to a local business that has lobbyists that matches what you're doing because they want to hear from you. They're there to serve you. And I promise, just like in the Field of Dreams, when they say, if you build it, they will come. You build this class, you build this project, you build your legislative process, they will come. They want to hear from you, and that is their job. Please build, reach out, hear from different people, get different opinions, find those statistics, and you go solve that problem. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through American government and the bill writing process. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, or subscribe for more educational content. Until next time, farewell.